Hi, I'm Jorge Antonio Vallejos, and you're watching BlackCoffeePoet.com. I run this website, BlackCoffeePoet.com, where I review books, interview writers, and I have a lot of videos of writers, as well as vlogs like this one. So this is part of a series that I've got going called Free Books. This is the third installment. It's because so many free books come into my life, I want to share them with you. And it's also a follow-up to my last article that I published July 11th, 2012, called The Hunt for Heinrich Boll. I'll get into that in a second. So check that out. The link for this article will be under this video, and also check out blackcoffeepoet.com. So let's get to it. A little sip of coffee first. The other day, 2 days ago, really, I got 11 free books. That's the shortest amount of free books I've gotten in a while. Usually when I get free books, it's friends who say, come over, take whatever book you want, and end up leaving with 40 books, 30 books, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so I went downtown. I live in the city of Toronto. In the land now known as Canada. This is originally Indigenous land. Now it's known as Canada, and that's where I live. And I went to visit various peoples, on my day off and stuff from BlackCoffeePoet.com, and books came my way as usual. So this is what happened. I met my friend Danny, and Danny's into mystery writing and all that kind of stuff, and he gave me a copy of The Narrows by Michael Connelly. So I've been telling Danny for a while that I want to read The Poet. I haven't found The Poet, which is also by Michael Connelly. I haven't found it at Goodwill. I haven't found it at a used bookstore for a good price. I don't want to pay for it brand new. And I looked at, trying to get it from the publisher and all that, but it kind of looks like it's difficult to interview Michael Connelly. If I could, I'd do a whole week on it. Review, interview, video. Anyways, but The Narrows is a continuation of The Poet. And who is the poet? The poet is a murderer. So that makes it all the more interesting. Anyways, and so I want to read this book. Danny says he couldn't finish this book. He said it was really dark, and we'll see what happens. I've never read a book about a poet who's a murderer, so that'll be a really cool thing to do for my site. Anyways, I'm really looking forward to reading The Narrows, but I kind of think I'm going to wait until I get The Poet first, although Danny says you don't need to read them in order. We'll see what happens. So on my way, like after hanging out with Danny and all that kind of stuff, and I talk about my day in the article, The Hunt for Heinrich Boll. So you'll be seeing where I went, what I did, and the books that came my way, and then eventually we're going to be talking about Heinrich Boll, and you'll find out who he is in a minute anyways. So I'm walking around, downtown Toronto and stuff like that, and after hanging out with my friend, I decided to just go chill at a park, and on my way to the park, in like, those like they're bushes but they're not on the ground. They're like these wooden structures, and the cities make them to look fancy, and they're along the sidewalk. Anyways, I see a book staring at me. They're always staring at me. They look for me. They find me. Anyways, and I'm in this like mode these days. I'm always like contemplating and thinking about life and thinking about where I am in life and what am I doing and what's going on and am I on the right track, etc., etc. But more so, things have changed in terms of like my politics and being an ally to different communities, being an ally to women, being an ally to the queer community, being an ally to trans folk. And I learn a lot about trans issues from my friend Cindy, and you can see there's a video of Cindy on my YouTube channel. She wrote a psalm and read it for Trans Day of Remembrance. So check it out; it's amazing, Cindy Bourgeois. Anyways, and so you kind of question gender and and roles and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, where am I at right now? And I'm an adult and I'm a man. And what stares at me? A Man by Oriana Fallaci, sorry. So I look at the back, and it had really good reviews, and I flipped through the pages and stuff like that. And it's a pretty fat book actually, but I was like, you know what? I think this book is speaking to me and waiting for me. What is a man? You know what I mean? Strong, or is a man more flexible? And what is really a man? And is there such a thing as, one type of man? And I'm pretty sure here it's about some kind of hyper masculine guy. It's somewhat love story. It's also very political. I looked up Oriana Fallaci, and she was a staunch feminist. I don't know if she's still around. This book is from 1980 or 82. And she was a well-known journalist and writer in Italy. And this is semi-autobiographical. It's about her love affair with a man, a Greek man, who was very political. I am political, but then again, this is from late 70s, early 80s. Is this second wave of feminism? Supposedly we're in the third wave. Now people are talking about a fourth wave, and they're calling it trans feminism. That's not official yet. Officially, we have three waves. So am I going to like what Oriana Fallaci has to say? Was she racist? Was she ableist? Did she forget about queer women and women of color? Who knows? But we'll see. But I am very interested in reading this book, A Man, to find out what a man is. So, moving on, I went and I hung out in a park and all this kind of stuff after I picked up that book. So I've got, 3 books. And then I'm walking home, and I tend to walk through neighborhoods. I don't like big streets. But also why I like walking through neighborhoods is, shade, more trees, quiet. But I run into a lot of, guess what? Free books. So people leave boxes of free books. I'm not lying. This is how this series has started. This is installment 3. I have a feeling I'll be doing installment 20 because I've already got material enough for another 5 installments. Anyways, so I see a box and it says free written on it. I look through it and what do I find? Whyla Falls by George Eliot Clarke. So if you're not familiar with George Eliot Clarke, he's a African-Canadian poet. He's very well known. He's got about 20 books. He teaches. He did his dissertation in 3 years, he told me, for his PhD in literature. That's fucking amazing. That's like unheard of. Anyways, so I got to meet George Eliot Clarke a couple years ago at a dinner, and I write about that in the Hunt for Heinrich Boll. And we hit it off, you know what I mean? Him and his wife were talking to me about books, of course, and we talked about politics or politricks and colonialism, and they asked me where I'm from, and then I asked them where they're from, and, they kind of said guess. His wife is a woman of color, but she's not black, and they said, well, they named where she's from. And they thought I wasn't going to know, because apparently nobody in Canada knows where this place is. Anyways, it's the island of Mauritius. And I was like, oh, that's off the southeast coast of the continent of Africa. And they were like so shocked. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh, nobody knows where that is. Well, it happens that because of my love for fights, I saw a kickboxer fight from the island of Mauritius a couple times. I also knew somebody in high school from the island of Mauritius. There's a restaurant in Toronto in the West End that serves Mauritian cuisine. I think that's how you say it, Mauritian. And there's one more thing about the island of Mauritius. Anyway, so I knew where it was from, and it's just from me talking and watching things and reading, you know what I mean? Anyways, they were impressed. So after that, they've never forgotten me, and they emailed me a couple times, and every time I see them, like, hey, how's it going? So it's kind of cool that me, this young poet, such an established poet, and I've never even read any of George Eliot Clarke's work, which is kind of ridiculous. Anyway, so this was free. Whyla Falls. And he really does focus on the black experience in the land now known as Canada, colonialism, racism. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to like his stuff. I've heard him read, and I've liked it. So, pretty cool. What else was in the box? A writer who's very well known, an American writer, John Updike. And he's supposedly the master of the short story. I'm working on short stories now. Short story, I've been told, and I agree, is the cousin of poetry. You have a very small amount of time. You're in, you're out. Obviously, poems are shorter usually. There's some really long poems out there. But anyways, I'm gonna check this out. So I've got The Same Door and The Music School by John Updike. And I'm excited to read these and learn from someone who is considered a master. Will I enjoy them? Maybe not, but I can learn craft. I can learn, language, dialogue, sentence structure, all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to be checking this out. Anyways, so when I was looking through the box, I found a whole bunch of books by the same author. Guess who? Heinrich Boll. Anyways, so the first book that I see is Billiards at Half Past Nine. I love pool. I play pool. I've got my own cue. I don't play snooker. I ain't into that fancy shit. I like straight pool, man. 8 ball. Anyways, so I picked up the book and I looked at it and I was like, it's not really about pool. Like, there's some pool in it. The title obviously has pool in it. It's more about former Nazi soldiers. Heinrich Boll is a German writer. So I looked at this, and then I looked at the other books, and I was like, you know what? I've got a lot of books on me already. I already had books that weren't free. I had a book by Gary Gottfredson that I'm reading called Skin Like Mine. Gary Gottfredson is Shuswap, Aboriginal from the land known as Canada in the section called British Columbia now. And he's got an amazing book of poetry that I'm reading and I'll be doing a week on in the very near future for blackcoffeepoet.com. So I had that book. I had 2 other books that came into me from Quattro Books. Those are right here, actually. So I had already, 3 books on me, and then the other 3 books. Anyway, this is the Lebanese Dishwasher, and this is the Panic Button. Those came into me from Quattro Books. So they're not really free, like I am working for these books in terms of doing reviews on them. Anyway, side note. So I was like, I already have a lot of books on me. I had a jar of honey that I just bought. I had my pool cue in my other hand. I was like, you know what? Let these go. So I go home. Anyways, and then I call my friend Paula. And I was like, have you ever heard of Heinrich Boll? Paula's a really avid reader. She's an eager reader. She loves books. She's like, fantastic. That's her favorite word. She's like, I love Heinrich Boll. And she's like, he's excellent. And I was like, oh, I just left like a whole bunch of Heinrich Boll books in a box. And she yelled at me. She's like, go back! So, like, whoa, damn, I got told. So I looked up Heinrich Boll on the internet, and he's won the 1972 Nobel Prize for Literature. He's one of Germany's few recognized writers worldwide. Like, he's been translated a lot. All these books are actually translated by the same person, Leila Venowitz. So thank you, Leila Venowitz, for being a translator and translating all of Heinrich Boll's books. Now I can read them. So I was like, whew. So I looked at other books. I looked up Oriana Fallaci as well, just to see who she is and what's going on and whatever. Then nighttime comes around. It's dark. The house where these books were are a half hour away. And because I've got a book addiction, I admit it. Step 1, I know my problem, but I don't see it as a problem. It's a gift. I went back. I walked back and I got the books. So that was an adventure in itself. I was there with my flashlight and everything, looking up shit, and all the books were there. Anyways, you can read more about that, and you learn more about me, the Black Coffee Poet, in that article, The Hunt for Heinrich Boll. But let me show you the books. So, I don't know why I love this cover, and never said a word. It's plain, it's nice. This is about relationships, a couple that are having trouble, and for some reason, they rent hotel rooms to have sex. They're married, okay? Cool. This is an amazing title. Children are civilians too. Yes, if you could please tell that to all the nations that are killing children around the world, all these superpowers. I don't think I have to name them. Anyways, children are civilians too. Children are people. Children are sacred. Stop killing them. 18 stories. I don't know why I like that. That's all I gotta say. The Lost Honor of Katharina Blum. This is a mystery. And supposedly, and this is Heinrich Boll, by the way, if you can see that. Heinrich Boll writes mystery in a very, very different way. Supposedly this book is kind of like part newspaper article, part telling you everything at the beginning, and then laying it out afterwards. Interesting, okay? So then, this is called The Safety Net. And what's really interesting here is the way they talk about this book being about terrorism. So we're in 2012 now. When you think of a terrorist, usually because of the media and their brainwashing and their racism, what you think of is somebody wearing a keffiyeh. That's actually how I do my sonnets, by the way. Anyways, don't come at me with some nonsense comments. I'm half Arab. Boom. Stay quiet. So anyways, you think of those racist images of kids with guns, of martyrs, and all this kind of stuff. Well, this is a very different story. This is about white terrorists. And people don't realize white terrorism exists. It's not just a bunch of Arabs or Afghanis, not just brown people, not just people wearing kafiyas. You know what I mean? And just the whole way the media has labeled every Arab a racist terrorism is just. I don't gotta go into it. Anyways, media racism, government racism, colonialism, racism is a part of that, and now every Arab is a terrorist, every Muslim is a terrorist. Uh, anyways, so um, I'm really interested in this book. It's like, okay, they're going to be talking about white folk as terrorists. And when did the terrorism become from white to people like me? That's a good question. And why aren't people talking about white terrorists? Why aren't, I don't know, the American Army, people like them and their allies considered terrorists? Anyway, so I'm really interested in reading this book for that. So those are the free books. I'm really happy that I got free books again. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. You can read more about my experience in getting these books in the Hunt for Heinrich Boll, and you'll again learn more about me, the Black Coffee Poet. And this is installment number 3 in the free book series. And there's also a summer reading list vlog that I recently did that's going to be under this one on my YouTube channel. Check that out. I'm reading a lot of books this summer. None of these will be on there because I already made my list, and you can also look that up. Summer 2012 reading list on blackcoffeepoet.com. So subscribe to blackcoffeepoet.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Black Coffee Poet. I'm also Black Coffee Poet on Twitter. And check out my site. Reviews, interviews, videos. The videos vary. Mainly there are people reading. Sometimes there's vlogs like this. I've got roundtables and workshops, and also just readings, like I said. So anyways, yeah. Keep tuned in to blackcoffeepoet.com, and thank you very much for joining me. I'm Jorge Antonio Vallejos. Peace out. Oh, and check out this t-shirt. This is my favorite t-shirt. I don't know if you can see it. It says, I am in the world to change the world. Let's all try to do that. Peace.